Introducing our officials for this match. First referee, Mr. Erlindo Eusebio, National Referee. Second referee is Mr. Virgilio Cruz Jr., National Referee. Let's call on the starting lineup of our Navigators, ILOILO. Team captain wearing jersey number 4, outside hitter Jerome Cordes. Opposite hitter number 2, Toto De Pedro. Starting center number 6, JM Apolinario. Middle blocker number 13, Nas Guaza. Middle blocker number 14, Rash Nursidik. And outside hitter number 21, Jade Disquitado. Starting libero number 9, John Mark Espanso. Head coach for ILOILO is Mr. John Kenneth Panis. Calling on the starters of our Vanguard volleyball team. Team captain wearing jersey number 6, starting center Ron Villegas. Outside hitter number 5, Nathan Sorio. Opposite hitter number 11, Razel Palisok. Middle blocker number 16, Clark Fernandez. Middle blocker number 19, John Daniel Diwa. And outside hitter number 24, Vince Abroad. Starting libero number 22, Romeo Teodones. Head coach for Vanguard is Mr. Edjet Mabayad.
We welcome you back inside the Paco Arena Events and Sports Center, the 2023 Spikers Turf Open Conference. It's ILOILO versus Vanguard. And first things first, we check out the starters on your screens for ILOILO. Billy Capistrano, of course, with Neil Flores and Mika Abesames as we head on over to the starters this time of the Vanguard volley hitters. And as we were saying in our pregame, Neil, they have been struggling this whole conference. Unang panalo nila against NU, and that was their first game. So as Vince mentioned to me before this game started, gusto niya ng full circle moment and hopefully a win in their last game.
And you know, it's very ironic because when you look at the roster of Vanguard volley hitters, magagaling individually. These are stars in their respective teams in the previous editions of the Spikers Turf. So it's very new to me that they're at the bottom of the standings with only one win. But again, this is the last chance for Vanguard to actually get a win para kahit papano may celebrations pa din to end their campaign here in the Open Conference.
As we start set number 1, and that is going to sail outside for Raz Palisok. First point goes to the Navigators.
Soria is the one occupying the second outside hitter position. Joven Kamag-Anakan is still warming up on the bench.
And for those who do not know the ILOILO team, they are currently 4th in the standing. They have that strong chance into entering our semis. But what's stopping them, Neil? Because I know VNS, they're watching this game very intensely today.
VNS is actually hoping for an ILOILO loss because ILOILO has 2 more matches. After today, they will go up against the number 2 seeded team of the conference in the form of the Cotabato Spikers. And we know na nag-beef up palalo ng lineup with the addition of the Phil-Am Spiker in Rotter. So you don't want to go up against a strong AMC Cotabato lineup.
So for the ILOILO Navigators, this is a chance for them to really show us what they're capable of. Again, they're coming off a 2-game losing skid. They want to redeem themselves in this game today.
About
Jade Disquitado
redeeming himself. It's Jade Disquitado to start off this set for the Navigators ILOILO. He was blocked so many times against the Signal HD Spikers. Against JP Bugawan, he had a very difficult time. So now he's looking to get his numbers back kasi nakakapanibago yung 10 points ni Jade Disquitado.
And diba sabi nga ng ILOILO, aminado naman sila na idol talaga nila yung mga Signal HD Spikers. We don't know if that was a factor of some sort na starstruck. But again, Jade Disquitado in that game, he was a marked man. As Neil mentioned, only 10 points for him. We need to see more of him in today's match as we get back to this game. They go to Fernandez with a quick.
And the Vanguard actually has a chance to spoil the party for ILOILO if they end up winning this set. Kumbaga, all of the pressure will be on the Navigators ILOILO against their last assignment. But BNS has to win their game on Sunday, I believe, against the Navy Sea Lions to have a chance in making it to the next round of competition.
Well, we will see how things pan out for all our teams. The semifinals begin next week. Again, one slot remaining. As we get back to our match at hand, Iloilo now at 3, Vanguard at 4. Early lead for them. Good dig. They're gonna go to Guaza.
Wow, Guaza with that quick attack. Again, he was a converted middle blocker. He's not naturally a middle blocker. Talagang outside hitter siya, and he says na he prefers to be in that position, but he's just stepping up to the plate and tinake on niya talaga yung responsibility na binigay sa kanya ng coach.
And so far, so good for him. Talking about Guaza, but what about the Vanguard volley hitters right now? They're doing so well to start things off for them here in our match.
Right now, they're very aggressive on attacking the defense of the Navigators. They have been running a lot of combination plays to start off this first frame.
It's still a 1-point lead now for Vanguard. What about that from Jade Disquitado? Expect nothing less from him.
And Jade Disquitado just really eager to be back. Just 18 years old.
Can you believe?
And I think he's still in high school, if I'm not mistaken. And right now, he's in the process of choosing his college. So I'm sure swerte yung mapupuntahan niyang university. In one of his social media accounts, parang meron ako nabasa na he's thinking of going to Katipunan.
We'll see.
Over to the blue side. But let's see if matutuloy yung plans niya.
Well, right now, he's already in blue. So we all know that blue looks good on him. And speaking of blue, he is a blue chip recruit after all. So we'll see what his plans are in the next coming months as we get back to this game. The Vanguard volley hitters definitely not making it easy at all for Iloilo today.
That was actually a valid block coming from the Navigators Iloilo, but nobody picked up that second touch. That was a good block. Pero nagkatingin ito si Apolinario and Espanso.
A bit of confusion on the side of Iloilo. Poor coverage for them. And they're going to try to chase that one. Talking about Vanguard, ball is still alive as they send it over. And another solid block for Vanguard.
And that will send us to our first technical timeout. Vanguard up by 3.
Lang sa kabila sa quick. Oh, ayan, na-maximize kaya eh. Okay, kaya tayo receive, wala na tayo makabol sa quick. To, pattern muna to. Sino ba, hindi kayo nakaintin si Gemma? Si Gemma sa gitna or dito ka? Dito po dito. Oh, yun pala dulo kanina, sayang eh.
Tatlo lang
okay, Ganaan nyo, ganaan. Go!
Error lang natin.
Save.
Back at the Paco Arena for your 2023 Spikers Turf Open Conference. My name is Mika Abisamis. Lahat ng alam nyo sa volleyball, ilabas nyo na ngayong araw na to. Coach Ken Panes reminded the boys. We mentioned earlier how much they need to win this game. In fact, they are treating this as a do-or-die game because going against Cotabato would be an even bigger problem. Billy, you mentioned earlier how they played against Signal. Coach Ken actually appreciated how they did not just focus on Jade. He told the boys to play a D Navigators game today and not just a Jade Disquitado or Jerome Cortez game. He also said, isipin nyo hindi nyo kasama si Jade sa court. They fixed the receiving during practice, which was their major problem in their last 2 losses. Billy Neal.
Thank you so much for that, Mika. As we get back to our game, and as Mika mentioned, sinabi nga ni Coach, let's pretend that Jade isn't on the court because everybody has to step up, not just the star players, Neil.
Yeah, but right now, it has been a collective effort for Vanguard Volleyball. Their defenders doing their job well, and they're setting up the table for their attackers.
What a good, almost a good dig for Vanguard, but it sails outside, and the point will go to Iloilo, slowly catching up here in set number 1, Neil.
And Vanguard just has to be very careful because in their past games, pag tinitingnan ko yung stat sheets, it's really that overwhelming amount of unforced errors that nakakawala on their side.
Exactly. And there is going to be an early challenge here in set number 1. A net touch violation ang sinasabi ng Vanguard volley hitters. And they're not going to take any chances here as we see JD Diwa on your screens of Vanguard. And of course, the very young Iloilo team. Parang wala namang pressure on the side of Iloilo. Nakikita naman natin. Good body language from both our squads. And as we inch closer to the semifinals, magkakaalaman na dito sa Spikers Turf. We got a couple of games left. The last game of our preliminary round will be on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So that is something to watch out for. What are your early predictions right now for the semis, Neil?
Well, it's very hard to predict the last slot. It can go either way. It can go to VNS. It can go to Vanguard Volleyball. Pero siguro, after this game, mas makikita natin yung possibility dun sa other scenarios na mangyayari. I don't think that will be a successful challenge. No net touch there. So, Vanguard will lose that challenge opportunity and the point will go to the Navigators in Iloilo.
And they're now just down by 1 point against Vanguard as De Pedro serves. They give this one to Sorio, gets the point, hammers it.
Again, he's the replacement for Joven Kamag-anakan. I think he came from a previous commitment. Kaya ngayon pala nag-warm up. Joven Kamag-anakan.
But we should see him back on the court hopefully soon. He is one of the better scorers here for the Vanguard volley hitters. And this will be a point now for Iloilo. Let's take a look at the sequence. This time to Palisok. Gets it and gets the point.
He has scored multiple times already. Most of the points have come from Razel Palisok. Vince Abrot still in the background for Vanguard volley hitters. Pero okay lang yun. If you see your teammates performing really well, you can just chill in the background and wait for your opportunity to score your share.
Exactly. We know Vince Abrot. We know what he can do, and we know that what he can offer here in today's game.
Ooh. That's
wow.
a good dig.
Lumiti na lang si JD Diwa, pero sana tanungin natin siya mamaya how that felt. And it was the only sound that everybody could hear here in Paco Arena. But great job to Iloilo, really fighting back against Vanguard here. But I do hope that JD is okay. There he is. We gotta take a look at that one more time, Neil.
Strong hit on the chest. Pero it was a good ball.
However, that will be a free point given to Vanguard. That was a service error.
And for the Navigators, Iloilo, they've been playing so well in the Spikers Turf. Ang ayaw nilang mangyari is mabitin sila dun sa dulo.
Because they started very strong here in our tournament. And as we mentioned, it was a 2-game losing skid. And of course, if they do want to enter that semis, they want to enter it with a lot of momentum. As Kel Apolinario on deck to serve for the white shirts. This time, they go to Vince Abrot, and that will go outside. A miss hit for Vince.
And that error will lead us to a deadlock at 12 between these two teams. Actually, both these teams already have 2 service errors in this set.
Apolinario continuing to serve for the white shirts. They're going to give it again to Vince. Will try. Cross-court is good.
Tried to go down the line earlier, but this time that cross-court angle was way open for Vince Abrot. Only one blocker in De Pedro. Huge opening there on the floor of the Navigators.
Vanguard holding on to that slim 1-point lead against Iloilo as Apolinario will give it to Despitado. Foiled plans for him. Abrot shouts at the net. It will go to Vanguard.
There is a net touch, says the first referee on Guaza. He doesn't agree with that call, but no challenge card is put up by their coaching staff.
And with that, the play continues. Vanguard now up by 2 points. Palisok serving. They give it to De Pedro. Off the block for De Pedro.
De Pedro started off really well against the Signal HD Spikers in that first frame, but eventually he lost his footing, and most of the scoring came from Cortez.
Cortez, their team captain, as Jade Desquitado sends it straight to the net. So the errors piling up here for Iloilo, Neil.
And nagpapalitan lang din ng errors itong Vanguard and the Navigators.
2-point lead for Vanguard. Villegas to serve. Sorry, that was Fernandez, Clark Fernandez. They give this one to Vince Abroad, challenging the blockers of Iloilo. Apolinario will give it to Desquitado from the back row, successful.
He was targeted on the service line by the volley hitters, but Jay Desquitado saving that play from the back row. It was just too strong for Vanguard to contain.
And you know, sky is the limit for Jade. And excited tuloy kami sa college career ni Desquitado. Hopefully, he will carry on that success here from the Spiker Surf into the collegiate ranks as we go to our second technical timeout. Vanguard in the lead, 16-14.
Maingat tayo sa mga ginagawa natin. Huwag tayong sige lang ng sige. Ingatan natin. Okay? Hindi pwede na, sige, push lang ng push. Ingat, diskarte kung paano yung block, paano yung spike. Okay? Hindi pwedeng power. Hindi pwedeng, sige, bahala na lang. Okay, mag-isip tayo. Okay? Okay na. Kailangan tayo lumamang tayo. Go! Okay, hindi pwedeng sila malamang sa akin na malayo, Okay, ma.
We're back here and you're still watching the 2023 Spiker Surf Open Conference. Billy Capistrano with Neil Flores. It is Iloilo versus Vanguard as Vince Abroad on deck to serve for the black shirts, and that is way off for Vince, and he knew it. The moment that he let that ball go, he looked at the coaching staff and quickly apologized.
And they just laugh it off. It doesn't happen often.
He's one of the better servers also for Vanguard in this league as well.
It was definitely a mishit for Ruben Abroad, but good thing they got that point back, courtesy of Diwa on that quick attack.
So far, so good for Diwa. And that is outside for Villegas as he runs to our first referee. And they're gonna possibly call a challenge here. They're looking at the coaching staff, and they will. They're gonna call a challenge. We're gonna say that is ball in because our first referee said it was a service error, Neil.
Yeah. And there were two different calls from the linesmen, pero yung mas malapit dun sa angulo na yun said that it was outside.
And we're gonna wait for the replay as we take a look at it on your screens right about now. Was it ball in or ball out? Clearly, it is
Definitely
ball
outside.
out. Medyo malayo na siya.
Again, Villegas relied on the call of the other linesman. That's why he asked the coaching staff to pull out that challenge card. But they will lose both challenges unsuccessful for Coach Edgen Mabayad.
And right now, Vanguard, 1 point na lang ang lamang nila dito sa ating set number 1 against Iloilo. So time for Iloilo to stage a comeback, but JD Diwa has other plans.
This is the distribution that we want to see for the volley hitters. Villegas engaging all his attackers right now.
Ron Villegas, the 10th best setter in the league right now. One of the UAAP greats as well as Diwa chases it. They're gonna send it over. Here comes Apolinario to Jay Desquitado.
That was against a triple block. He knew what to do in that instance, targeting the right hand of the outermost blocker there in Razel Palisong.
Discatado, the second best scorer in our league. Such a great and bright future ahead of him. Again, he is only 18 years old. It's hard to believe because he's playing like a veteran.
And he's already part of our national team at 18 years old. And the shorter Apolinario will get that kill block against Razel Palisong. Also one of the youngest centers that we have here, and I think he's up there in the statistics when it comes to setting.
You're right, Neil. The best setter actually right now here in our league is Kel Apolinario. And that will be a point for Iloilo.
With that said, again, these unforced errors coming at a bad time for Vanguard. This has been their Waterloo throughout this conference. There would be some games that they would register 30 errors in a 3-set match. So yun yung kailangan nilang iwasan today. Defense kicking in for the Navigators Iloilo.
Speaking of, that will be off the block for Jade Discatado. And the charge continues here for the Iloilo squad.
There will be a timeout called on the side of the volley hitters.
Sa ano, kasi di ba maliit na yung blocker, pinanggigigilan mo pa, di ba? Challenge, paluin mo kung paano yung palo mo talaga. Huwag mo siyang kumbaga, huwag mo siyang laruin. Hampasin mo kung hampasin mo, ha? Okay, alam mo kayo, lumamang na ng dalawa yan. Oh. Eh, pasama na maayos sa knock, spacing 1 to receive. Go.
Score right now is 20-18 in favor of Iloilo. A very important match for the white shirts. They need to win this game if they want to strengthen their spot, hopefully, in the semis. It's a very young Iloilo squad against the veterans. The Vanguard volley hitters have been struggling this whole conference. And that will be a service error for Renz Engay.
That is 4 service errors already on the side of the Navigators Iloilo. Very uncharacteristic for the squad.
What a dig there from Vanguard. That was a botch play. They make do. Villegas will set it to Vince abroad.
That was a sure point. I mean, from the approach and the arm swing, again, cross court vacant on the side of the Navigators Iloilo. He just put that straight down. Apolinario, he couldn't even get a rebound on that.
And again, you were talking about those errors, and this time it's piling up for the side of Vanguard, and they're shooting themselves in the foot here in this set because they're doing well, Neil.
And they had the lead a while ago until Iloilo took over.
That was a good serve. And again, Jade Discatado, the charge continues for this young man here in set number 1.
Apolinario, just knowing where to go here in the tail end of set number 1. They're just 3 points away. Of course, you have to go your best player on the floor.
They're going to give this one to Vince Abrot. Again, not afraid of those blockers, challenging the blockers of Iloilo, fearless on the attack.
He knew where he wanted to go. Ad-lib already from Rubens Abrot. But he was successful in targeting the right hand of De Pedro.
1 point lead for Iloilo. Yep. That's going to be a violation called on Iloilo, Neil.
It was an overpass from Iloilo. Apolinario tried to save that with one hand, pero nasa side na yun ng Vanguard volley hitter. So it was a valid attack from Rubens Abrot.
Good call by our referee, and right now we are at a deadlock. 22-all is our score, and they give it to Discatado. No go! Another point here for Vince Abrot.
Another overpass. You cannot give Rubens Abrot these free balls because he is a heavy hitter.
As Iloilo will call for time. Let's listen in.
Ayan. Mag-isip tayo maayos. aggressive muna tayo sa receive. Diyan nagmumula yung atake natin eh. Strong spiker tayo sa harapan, wala tayong receive. Okay, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, pwede yung paluin. Okay? Pag pumasok konti yung bola, paluin. Atin na yun eh. Yan yung pinalo sa nila sa kabila, hindi wala tayo score nila. Okay? Sige, pasa. Tsaga lang. Huwag kayong pressure, enjoy nyo eh. Sa kabila yun. Okay?
Go tayo, ha?
Tara. Go!
Obviously, the instructions are very clear just for this Iloilo squad to enjoy themselves and not be pressured, because Vince Abrot now just coming alive here in this first set, and we expected him to do that. He was a bit quiet in the first part of this set, but he is alive and kicking here right now as Raz Palisok will be on deck to serve for Vanguard. It is 23 serving 22. Apolinario will go to Disquitado.
Just way up in the air against the tall blockers of the Vanguard volley hitters. No problem, says Jade Disquitado.
And this is going to be that challenge for Iloilo. Will they be able to take this set number 1 from this team? The Vanguard volley hitters, they have nothing to lose here in this game. Villegas to Vince, a broad combination play.
Just unstoppable here in the tail end of set number 1. Ang tagal na ng rotation na to ng Vanguard. And they will try to close this set with the service specialist in. Almanon needs to get this in first. They cannot afford an error.
Off the bench, Almanon straight to the service line. Almost, Neil. Apolinario, they go for the push, no go. Ball is still alive. This time, Vince Abrot wants to end it. Picked up by Disquitado. Disquitado from the back row, and that is a little bit too low. And look at that, the Vanguard volley hitters take set number 1 from Iloilo.
Again, they want to end their campaign on a winning note, and that guy on your screen is really up to business here in their game against the Navigators Iloilo, attacking at a 54% efficiency right now. 7 out of 12 attempts. Ruben Abrot is the guy. And when we come back, set number 2 action.
We're back here at the Paco Arena Events and Sports Center. You're watching the 2023 Spikers Turf Open Conference game between Iloilo and the Vanguard volley hitters. And that was indeed an upset for set number 1, Neil, if you can call it that. The Vanguard volley hitters get or take that set from Iloilo.
And Vanguard Volleyball just managing to score more points on the attack courtesy of Rubens Abrot. And for the Navigators Iloilo, it was an error-prone set. They actually had 9 unforced errors in set number 1. That's a lot considering their past performances. And Jade Disquitado was just marked in that last play. And it didn't even go over, but Vanguard volley hitters knew that Apolinario would be going to their best attacker in that last play. 16 attacks for Vanguard compared to the 13 of Iloilo, and it has been diskitado. 8 points for this young gun of Iloilo, and yung sumunod sa kanya, 2 points. Nursidic Cordes, very quiet with a single point, and for Vanguard Volleyball, we know that it's really Rubens Abrot with 7 points and Razel Palisok with 4.
Now for Iloilo, we heard in one of their timeouts, their coach mentioned that they have to play as if Discatado or Jade Discatado isn't there. And so far, that's not the case. It has been Jade carrying this team, and he has carried this team in that first set. So hopefully, a lot of his teammates step up here in the second set. And he will welcome us back. Unsuccessful, joust at the net. Here come the Vanguard volley hitters. They're gonna send this over. It's gonna be a chance ball for Iloilo. And that was Nursidic with the point to welcome us in our second set.
Scoring his 3rd point of the match. All the other attackers need to come alive here in set number 2. Again, when you're up against a team that has nothing to lose, it's going to be very dangerous on your end because they're playing a very relaxed type of volleyball, talking about the volley hitters. And mas konti yung errors nila compared sa Iloilo in set number 1. So that is a good sign. Now, Ronchet Villegas just needs to continue distributing the balls well. And they do want to make a statement by winning in a dominant fashion against the Navigators.
However, that will be an attack error on JD Diwa. 4 touches for him and the team. It is a 3-point lead now for Iloilo, but there's going to be a challenge called here by the volley hitters. They're going to call a block touch on that, so we will see what the final call will be. In addition to what Neil said, this team, itong Vanguard, very dangerous. As he mentioned, they have nothing to lose. It makes them a very scary team to compete with. And if you're Iloilo, you don't want to take any chances. As we take a look at on our screens, was there a block touch?
Yes, there was a block touch.
So good call by the coaching staff of Vanguard. They're going to get that point, first point here in our second set.
And usually yung mga block touches, nagkakaroon talaga niyan because even if tumama yung bola dun sa white part ng net, because of the power, tumatama pa rin siya sa forearms ng mga blockers.
So great eyes by our assistant coaches for the Vanguard volley hitters.
Yep, that will be a dead ball. We will be replaying that point. So Nursidic will serve for Iloilo.
Nursidic on deck to serve for the white shirts. Villegas. That was great blocking.
What a statement also for Apolinario.
You know, he's really not the tallest player on the court, but take a look at him. The elevation that he has and great timing also for that block.
Timing is everything when you talk about blocking, but the fact that he is the #1 setter of the league at a very young age against the veterans in the other club teams, that says a lot about the talent.
Apolinario, the setter for Iloilo, 22 years old, very, very young. And speaking of blocking, Jade Discatado, no entry.
Now it's a 4-0 run for the Navigators Iloilo. Yung first set na yun, it should be a wake-up call for the boys in white because they still want to enter the semifinals, and right now it's either them or VNS. Dalawa na lang po ang pwedeng pumasok sa ating semifinals. I mean, one of the two teams because 3 slots have been taken by the Signal HD Spikers, the Cotabato team, and the Imos ITP Aja Spikers.
And of course, you want to greet the VNS team. I'm sure they're watching this game right now. And we all know what they're hoping for, Neil. As we get back to this match, babalik sa Vanguard ang bola. They're going to try. That is unsuccessful. Another attack error here for the volley hitters. That was Nathan Sorio, the mishit. It is a 4-point lead now for Iloilo. much better start for them than in our first set. Good dig. Desquitado challenging those blockers. Ball is kept alive. They go to Vince Abroad from the back row. Good defense by Iloilo. And that was Renz Engay with the attack.
Navigator starting to pull away early here in the second set.
And this is the Iloilo team that we all know. That was a good serve. Good coverage by Iloilo. They send this one over to Jay Desquitado for the drop. Great presence of mind by Vanguard. A chance here for Iloilo.
Oh, a net violation will be called on the middle blocker of Vanguard Volleyball. That will give the Navigators a 6-point cushion here in the second set.
And the woes continue for Vanguard here in our second set. Lots of errors to start things off for them. Villegas, one-hand set to Raz Palisok.
Cross-court hit from that one-handed set of Ronchet Villegas.
Apolinario, back set to Desquitado for the drop. This time it is successful. He gets the point as we head on over to our first technical timeout. We have Iloilo in the lead, 8-2.
Tsaka medyo tumahimik kayo, ha? Okay na ba yung first set? Oh, yun. Gawin ulit natin yan, ha? Go, tuloy lang natin, tuloy lang natin.
Mag-iingay ako dyan kung ako yan.
Manong, mag-iingay ka, Manong.
Seryoso tayo ba? Lahat tayo gigil. Relax lang sa atin yung first set.
Ang saya-saya ng first set, ini-enjoy nyo lang. Ganun lang gawin nyo, ha?
Happy.
Happy, para maging happy kung may pigsa ka, masakit ka.
Parang nagsiseryoso na kayo, Sego. Tingin na happy lang sa loob ng
Okay, kulitin nyo to. Tumatahimik na, eh, oh. Oh, go, ha? Go.
Wala, okay, wala. Uy, go lang. Pero kumain ka sa bara, Sego. Hey, Vanguard. Hey,
Huwag ka may...
Back at the Paco Arena for your 2023 Spikers Turf Open Conference. Now, you guys have been talking about the mindset of Vanguard getting into this match. Well, this Open Conference has really been a great learning experience for them. They will enjoy this match as much as they can. In the process, they hope this no-pressure game would finally make them feel comfortable and get a win. They hope this experience would also strengthen their hearts for the game. Wag mawala ng loob for the future bilang mga bata pa sila. And for me, this is the most important. They will challenge how mighty their hearts are because they are just a new team trying to embrace a good system. Billy Neal.
Thank you so much for that, Mika. And as you said that, the heart and soul of this team, Vince Abroad, gets that point. They have to be enjoying this game. They cannot feel that pressure at all for both teams. That was a quick from Guaza.
And now you see Apolinario distributing the balls better compared to that first frame because most of the attempts have come from Jade Desquitado. But right now, other attackers have scored here in the second set. Norsidic had that slide attack early on. Engay had that check out. And now Guaza with a jump serve.
He needs to get everybody involved, talking about Apolinario, and that will be a service ace for Nas Guaza. Some miscommunication on the part of Palisok. And Nathan Sorio on the side of the Vanguard volley hitters having a conversation about that service a while ago as Villegas will send it over to Fernandez.
That's one of their advantages, having a lefty as a middle blocker. Very difficult to guard. Because you have to read their body language well to determine kung saan angulo sila pupunta.
And Clark Fernandez, also the tallest player now for the volley hitters, standing at 6'3". Advantage for him. They go to Cordes. He's been silent. Palisok will send it over as Apolinario will go to Norsidic for the push. Gets it.
And you have to be unpredictable. That was an unpredictable set, although it could have gone better pag natamaan ng tama yung bola na yun. But pasok na kasi yung set, so he just used his offhand to get that point.
It's a pretty big lead now for Iloilo.
That is another block, courtesy of Apolinario. 2 blocks already for this setter.
Definitely worth expecting that from Apolinario, but we'll take it as Vanguard will call for time.
Tingnan nyo, lahat ng galaw nyo ngayon, ang dali nilang nababasa kasi alam na nila eh, nakikita na eh. Wala eh, tingnan nyo maitsura nyo ngayon. Ha? Ang ayos naman ng pasa natin, diskartehan nyo yung palo natin. Huwag nyo silang panggigilan. Ha? Go, go, go. Habulin natin yan ha, habulin natin yan.
Enjoy lang pare, enjoy lang. Hey, Vanguard! Ayun lang ano.
It is an 8-point push now for the Iloilo squad, and as we heard in that timeout, they just need to enjoy this game. Talking about Vanguard, it is their last game of our conference. They're a new team, and they want to start off that next conference strong. They want to bring that momentum, and that's exactly what they need to do here in this match. Meanwhile, for Iloilo, it's been a great second set for them as Villegas will give it to Palasok. He is denied. Abrot, no go. Apolinario will find Desquitado from the back row. Good dig from Vanguard. And nobody there for Iloilo.
Every time Vince Abrot is against a single blocker, he loves to go to that sharp cross-court angle. Has been very successful.
And he has been very effective at that angle as he takes on the service line. Almost a service ace for him. Back set. That will go to the Vanguard volley hitters, and they are trying to stage a comeback here in our second set.
Now double substitution will be called for sa side ng the Navigators. Iloilo de Pedro coming back in alongside Aranyo.
Aranyo seeing action for the first time today for Iloilo. He is going to be replacing Apolinario in the playmaking as Abrot will serve. They go to Nursidic. Chemistry is there for these two players.
And you like what the setters of the Navigators are doing. They're just really feeding the balls to their middle blockers para ma-free up yung left and right wing. And later on, you'll probably see more sets papunta kay Jade Desquitado habang naglo-loosen up yung blocking pattern ng Vanguard volley hitters. And as I say that, that's another point for the Navigators. A convincing 8-point lead after that tight first set.
And everything just going right here for Iloilo in our second set. We can see Vanguard losing their composure here in this game. As Jade Desquitado will try, that will be a mishit for Jade.
Just hit his fingertips at maririnig mo talaga that it was definitely a mishit.
It's going to be a 7-point lead now for Iloilo. Still pretty long way to go for Vanguard. As Nursidic doing great things here in this game, Neil.
Has been very consistent with the attempts given to him. And even if hindi perfect yung set, he finds a way na magawa ng paraan. And that's what you love about attackers na masipag. Ginagawa nila ng paraan kahit ano pang set yung makuha nila. And he gets a bonus point of that service ace.
And right now the score is 16-7 in favor of Iloilo as we take a quick break.
Nila, nabigay, di ba? Tayong trumabaho sa score natin, ha? Go.
Siyempre.
Isa pa, pag wala pa. Sino yung katapat ng kita? Didiwa? Diwa. Malaki ba? Malaki. Yung... si Kuya sunod na sunod sa akin.
We're back and you're still watching the 2023 Spikers Turf Open Conference. We have Vince Abrot and the Vanguard Volley Hitters versus the ILOILO squad, who are hoping to enter the semifinals. But we are welcomed back with a service error from Rash Nursidik. Pretty big lead now for ILOILO. 8 serving 16. They go to Jade Descatado. He's denied. Babalik na naman kay Jade. Still blocked. And this time, Guaza finishes what Jade couldn't start.
He always approaches properly, talking about Guaza. Very explosive, very convincing. Kaya mapapaisip yung mga middle blockers ng Vanguard Volley Hitters kung sasabihin nila si Guaza on that quick attack. And that's it for the double substitution as they rack up a couple of points bago pumasok ulit si Engay and Apolinario.
Quality minutes for De Pedro as well as Aranyo. And as Neil mentioned, babalik na naman si Engay. And of course, Apolinario, the best setter in the league right now in terms of our rankings. And he will go straight to the service line for the white shirts. Villegas to Palisok. And he is blocked.
Guaza doing damage on defense, preventing the attack of Razel Palisok.
Right now, Neil, it is a 10-point lead for ILOILO. And nobody there for the volley hitters. A service ace here for the Navigators.
So just very quiet on the side of Vanguard Volley Hitters.
And you know, Neil, I got the chance also to talk to Vince, I told you a while ago, and he said chemistry is still a big problem for them. So what can you say about the chemistry that they have? What have you noticed about this team?
Well, ganun talaga eh. I mean, dyan mo mapapatunayan that volleyball is a team sport. There are some teams na superstars, pero pag pinagsama-sama mo, it's not as a cohesive unit. Hindi nagja-gel. So it just really needs time para mag-grow and consistent training. That's very important.
And they are a new team here in the Spikers Surf. They were formed just recently, I know a few weeks before this open conference. And hopefully we see them back next conference better than ever and better than they're showing here. But right now, score is 20-9 in favor of ILOILO. Combination play.
And Fernandez took his eyes off the ball. Sometimes that's the tendency pag nahawakan mo yung rebound, yung assumption na titilapon siya papunta sa likod, but sometimes nasa likod mo lang pala yung bola.
Happens a lot actually here in the Spikers serve. We've seen it quite often, and that will be another service ace. And you know what, for ILOILO, everything is just falling into place for them here in our second set. And we can't say the same for the volley hitters. They have not reached double digits yet. It's 22 serving 9 as Jade Descatado, already 11 points for him in our match. It's going to be a chance here for Vanguard. Blocking is great for ILOILO. They go to Vince Abrot on the cross court. Effective as usual, too much for Jerome Cordes.
That's the same angle for Ruben Sabrot. Now, we will see Joven Kamag-Anakan in the rotation.
Finally joins his teammates on the court. Villegas takes a seat as well as Palisok. De Suyo will be doing the playmaking for the volley hitters. Adjustments here for this team. Hopefully they work. Apolinario will give this one to Guaza up top.
Simple drop ball there. No coverage on the side of the volley hitters.
Let's take a look at that sequence again. Nothing too fancy for Guaza. 23 serving 10. That's a good serve. De Suyo will go to Kamag-Anakan. Good coverage here by Vanguard. Kamag-Anakan again gets it through.
First point for Joven Kamag-Anakan. You might just see him in the starting unit pagdating ng set 3, but he has to warm up here in set number 2.
Instant contribution here for Jovs Kamag-anakan. One of the better scorers for the volley hitters. Much needed offense for them. We're talking about those errors. The chance here for Iloilo to take set number 2. We have Renz Engay on deck to serve for the white shirts. The suyo will go to Vince Abrot, tucks it in.
Vince Abrot still getting points, this time from the right wing. And malayo na yung kalamangan ng the Navigators Iloilo. So at the very least, Vanguard needs to secure momentum coming into the third set.
Exactly, that's all they need to do at this point as Rash Nursidik ends set number 2. Pretty dominating set for Iloilo here as we take a look at what happened. There are a lot of blockers right in front of him. Great approach, smart volleyball by Rash Nursidik. There you have it, 25-12 for set number 2. Magbabalik po ang Spikers Turf Open Conference. And what a dominating set number 2 that was for Iloilo. As we take a look at that score, 25-12. Just pure dominance from this team. And the Vanguard volley hitters really losing their composure early on, Neil.
Vanguard showed us a different type of volleyball in set number 2. Polar opposite of what they did in set number 1. It was a far margin established by the Navigators Iloilo, and they never looked back, edging out Vanguard in all skill set categories, from the non-scoring skills to the scoring skills. It was evident that the Navigators just controlled the tempo of set number 2. And we'll see the difference in the attacking, but especially on the blocking department as well. 5 points compared to the single point of Vanguard volleyball, tas dagdagan pa natin ng 5 service aces. It just showed us that Vanguard had a difficult time in giving these passes papunta sa setter nila. And now you see a change in the starting unit of Vanguard volleyball. Joven Kamag-anakan there already as an outside hitter. Then you also have Obay, their middle blocker.
So you will see how things pan out for both these squads. For the Navigators Iloilo, they need to win this game if they want to strengthen their chances into entering the semifinals, much to the dismay of the VNS Griffins. And as for the Vanguard volley hitters, they want to finish this conference strong, take the momentum that they can. And we have Kel Apolinario again with another block, perhaps his third of the game, Neil. And we were talking about him, obviously not the tallest player on the court, but his timing has been impeccable.
I think that's his third or fourth block the entire game already.
What about that? Jade Desquitado up top.
This time he just used that wrist action to hit that ball straight down. We're used to seeing him na talagang all power. But that time, nilagay lang niya yung bola, not wasting so much effort and energy in that rally.
That was JD Diwa with a version of his own. And he gets the first point for the volley hitters after a challenging set number 2 for them. He goes straight to the service line. Apolinario. And that was Jerome Cortez making his presence felt in our second set.
And we've been waiting for him to actually punch in the numbers for the Navigators Iloilo. Again, he was the top scorer against the #1 team in the league, against the Signal HD Spikers. And that was a breakout game for Jerome Cortez.
He has to be more assertive in terms of offense here in this game. Good coverage for Vanguard. They're going to give this one to Vince Abrot from the back row off the hands of Norcidic. Vince Abrot continuing to be that shining light here for the volley hitters. And we're hoping that Kamag-anakan can string up a few points of his own as well. As Apolinario, combination play. Great blocking by the volley hitters.
That is definitely outside. Too much power on that hit of Jay Desquitado.
So as Neil mentioned, it is a totally different Vanguard team that we saw in that second set, and hopefully they'll be able to replicate what they did in that first set here in the third. Babalik sa Vanguard ang bola. Villegas. Ball is kept alive. Abrot was there to pick it up. Babalik kay Vince Abrot. He is blocked.
He's been targeting that cross-court angle, but there was a shift in focus for the blockers of the Navigators Iloilo. And dahil kanina pa nga, nakakapuntos ito si Vince Abrot. Sabi, sarado naman natin yung cross-court, and they left zone 1 open. But Vince Abrot didn't go to that angle.
Well, the good news now for Vanguard, deals are keeping it close here. I mean, right now we are at a deadlock 4-all, so much better showing from them compared to the previous set. And sana magtuloy-tuloy na para sa volley hitters. We have Raz Palisok, 28 years old, on deck to serve. Apolinario. And what an attack from Renz Engay. Great angle.
That was a fast swing, getting through the blockers of Vanguard volley hitters.
1 point lead for Iloilo.
It's also harder to defend fast hits compared to powerful hits.
Kasi syempre, sometimes hindi ka prepared for those fast attacks like that one. They're gonna give this to Vanguard. Just a little bit short for Rick Adaw.
There was a miscue on his end and Apolinario's end.
We are now tied again. 5-all this time. We have Obay serving. Apolinario to Guaza. He is denied by JD Diwa.
1-on-1 against Guaza. Guaza wasn't able to choose his angle well in that last rally.
Great single block coverage from the Vanguard volley hitters. They are on top by 1 point. Making something out of nothing, we have Renz Engay.
It's always about the adjustment. Pag naset na yung bola, wala nang magagawa yung setter doon. So it's up to the attacker to actually make do.
6-all is our score, so it has been a push and pull affair early on in our third set as Guaza will serve.
7 points already for Guaza.
And that was JD Diwa with a quick. So now we see, Neil, that the volley hitters, they are fighting back here in this third set.
And they've been getting single block coverages on the side of the Navigators Iloilo. That's why it's easier for them to actually rack up their attack points. As I say that, Vince Abrot commits that error on the service line.
That is going to be his second service error of our game. Engay serving. Villegas will give this one to Kamag-anakan.
That's way off base, definitely, for Joven Kamag-anakan. He tried to go above the blockers, but that is outside. And that will be a point for Iloilo. Iloilo up by 1 in this first technical timeout.
Back at the Paco Arena for your 2023 Spikers Turf Open Conference. Medyo nag-enjoy daw itong Vanguard sa first set nila, kaya medyo tumahimik sila sa loob. In the second set, kagaya nga ng sinabi mo, Neil, this set they need to fix their judgment call, sabi ni Coach Edget, lalo na sa receive, nawalan daw sila ng first ball. But more importantly, he reminded them na masyado daw nababasa ng Iloilo ang moves nila. Huwag daw sila manggigil para hindi magbago ang moves. And huwag umasa sa puntos na bigay ng kalaban. They gotta work on their own points, which is working so far. Billy Neal.
Thank you so much for that, Mika. And you are right, so far so good for the Vanguard volley hitters here in our third set. So they are fighting back against Iloilo. They have loosened up quite a bit, have found their composure, and right now they're holding on to a 1-point lead. And that was a good dig by Vanguard. And that will go to the volley hitters.
Vanguard now with a 2-point lead. They're looking to turn things around here in set number 3 and get that advantage against the Navigators Iloilo. Now they get another chance ball. And Kamag-anakan puts an end to that rally. Let's make it a 3-point lead for the Vanguard volley hitters. Now a timeout will be called by Iloilo.
Receive. Ilang beses na i-remind yan, receive. Yun ang kulang natin. Okay? Hanggat wala tayong receive, wala tayong atake niyan. Receive tayo. Wala namang problema eh. Wala namang problema eh. Yung first ball natin yung problema. Go. Ano na, layo. Tara, uy. Go. Bata.
8-11 is our score in favor of the Vanguard volley hitters. Yeah, Jade Disquitado has been pretty silent here in our third set. Not as much noise as he was making in our second set. And how about Raz Palisok as well, one of the veterans here for the volley hitters. No coverage for Vanguard on the attack from Nersidic.
Nersidic continuing to be the second best option for Apolinario in this game for the Navigators. Next to Jade Disquitado, that's a 2-point lead for Vanguard Volleyball. And they've been running a lot of combination plays, a lot of quick hits. At hindi nababantayan ng the Navigators yung tempo na siniset ni Ronchel Villegas.
It's now a 3-point lead for Vanguard. You have JD Diwa doing well so far here in our game. Apolinario will give it to Disquitado, and finally something from Iloilo.
It's go time for Jade Disquitado. This is the moments that he thrives in. Yung mga dikit na scores, pag binibigay sa kanya, he gets the point for his squad.
Nersidic to serve. That was gonna go outside, I feel like. That was picked up, and that will be a service ace for Rash Nersidic.
Now they cut the lead. Now it's down to 1. You see how important that first pass is. In all of the timeouts, we've been hearing, laging sinasabi na hindi tayo makaka-atake pag wala tayong unang pasa. And attacking is the least of the concerns of these guys on the floor. mas importante na mag-focus sila sa receive.
That was another quick, this time from Obay. Gets his first point of the game as Jovs kamag-anakan, 2 points for him. He will be serving for the volley hitters. Good serve. Apolinario will give it to Jade Desquitado, and they have been feeding him the ball in the past few plays, Neil.
Always on top of the blockers, Jade Desquitado. Just very confident at this point.
And what about that from Obay? Oh, we gotta see that again, and hopefully we get to see that replay. That was a great attack, Neil.
He's probably the shortest middle blocker
He
on the
is.
floor, but look at the hops of Obay.
You're talking about his height. He is 5'8", a 5'8" middle blocker, doing great things here for the volley hitters. Desquitado is denied, but it's gonna be a point for the volley hitters.
It's another close set we're seeing, just like in that opening set. It's about quick recovery actually for both these teams kasi papalit-palit lang yung points. But somebody has to pull away and string up consecutive ones to close out this set. Oh,
And that's 2 straight points for Jade Desquitado. I stand corrected. That was a point for him as he was unafraid of the blockers right in front of him. And we know that he is fearless. 18 years old, so full of talent, making waves here in the men's volleyball scene. 16 points for him right now, and he will be on deck to serve again for ILOILO. Second straight service ace for Jade.
he's been doing it all for the Navigators Iloilo. He has been receiving the serves of Vanguard volley hitters, and now he's been doing damage on the service line. That's back-to-back points for Jade Desquitado.
So young, but already such a great leader for this team. However, that will be a service error for Jade. That was way off for him. The point will go to the volley hitters, and we are tied at 15 all.
And now, actually, Iloilo already has 8 service aces in this entire ball game. Samantalang yung Vanguard volley hitters, wala pang nare-register na service ace.
Good blocking. Ball is still alive, and a chance here for Vanguard. They give this one to Abrot. Gets it.
That combination play does it for Vanguard Volleyball. And again, they will take the lead here in this second technical timeout.
We're back here at the Paco Arena Events and Sports Center. As we take a look at the last play before that break, we have Vince Abrot going up top, going for the kill currently. He is the 9th best scorer in the league right now, doing great things for the Vanguard volley hitters. Here in our third set, we are tied at 16 all. What a way to bounce back from that second set mishap. Talking about Vanguard, we have Guaza on deck to serve for the white shirts. As Villegas will give it to Diwa. Nursidic. They go to Jade. Good dig by Kamag-anakan. Here comes Vince Abrot again. Different approach. He will try one more time.
There will be a net violation. It was a good block, defensive block. Ang taas ng rebound on the side of Iloilo, and they had a chance to run their counter-attack.
And there was a net violation called on that sequence as Abrot will go to the service line. They give this one to Kamag-Anakan using the blockers.
Joven Kamag-Anakan using his beach volleyball smarts as they grab a 2-point lead against Iloilo, hitting it off the hands of Engay.
So right now, this set can go either way. Great volleyball that we're seeing from both our squads. Here comes Vince Abrot. Apolinario to Engay. Off the block.
Kung ano yung ginawa ni Joven Kamag-Anakan, yun din yung ginawa
Back to you.
ni Engay. They're closing in on that lead of Vanguard. De Pedro and Aranyo will come back in. A while ago, when Aranyo came in, he activated his middle blocker. So let's see if he's going to do the same thing here in the tail end of set number 3.
And Aranyo, or Wayne Aranyo, 18 years old as well, Neil. One of the younger setters that we have here in the league. Kamag-Anakan over the blockers. Aranyo. And that will be Jerome Cortez with a cross court.
Jerome Cortez has to actually pump up that energy and power because it's closing time for the Navigators Iloilo at nasa likod pa si Jay Tesquitado.
Good serve. Villegas to Palisok, no go. Here comes Cortez, picked up by Abrot. Leguro Kamag-Anakan, return to sender.
That is a monster block by Nur Sidik. Arms pressed over that net. Wala nang dadaanan yung bola na yun. Also closing out that gap left by De Pedro.
1-point lead now for Iloilo.
Oh,
Ball is still alive. Didn't see that coming as Abrot will try to send it over. De Pedro. Good save by Villegas. Kamag-Anakan. Cortez. Good dig by Palisok. Here comes Kamag-Anakan again. Finding that corner.
Out of system play for Kamag-Anakan. Yung free ball na binigay kanina ng Vanguard looked like it was going outside, but the libero of the Navigators got that ball. Now they lose that point, and we are now tied at 19 all.
And right now, Neil, Vanguard making it very difficult for Iloilo in this game as they take the lead. 1-point lead now for the volley hitters. We're at 20-19.
Right now, they are targeting Jay Tesquitado on the serve para ma-delay yung approach niya on that pipe attack.
Which is a good adjustment for Vanguard. Clearly working for them here in our third set as Villegas will serve. Aranyo will go to Cortez. Gets the point. We are tied 20 all.
Great timing for Cortez to actually get the points for the Navigators Iloilo. And now Jade Tesquitado is back in the front row.
So a chance here for Iloilo. And what about that from Jobs Kamag-Anakan? Great combination play from Villegas.
Villegas loves going to that combination play from the middle, trying his best to confuse the blockers of the Navigators.
It's clearly working for them as Almanon off the bench will go straight to the service line. It is 21 serving 20 here in our third set. Aranyo will find Jade for the drop. Great coverage by Obay. Kamag-Anakan sends it over. Aranyo back set to De Pedro. Villegas to Obay, no go. Chance here for the volley hitters as Villegas will choose to go to Jobs Kamag-Anakan. That is a error. It hits the antenna.
Just too low for Kamag-Anakan.
Another deadlock in our third set, 21 all. It's crunch time for both our squads as Rash Nursidik goes for the serve. That is going to be a very crucial service ace for Nursidik. And with that, the Vanguard volley hitters will call for time.
Pasa lang, Benok sa gusto padala. O, go. Receive lang natin na maayos yan. Go, lock, discard yan. Usap lang kayo ni ano kung sinong kukuha. Para huwag kayo masyado magdikit. Nagkakalituan kayo. So, let's go, let's go.
Kapit sa atin daw, sa atin, ha? Sa atin, sa atin. Vanguard.
Score now is 21-22 in favor of Iloilo. Great serve by Rash Nursidik. Very crucial serve as well for him. They get the lead and they take the lead here in the latter parts of our set number 3. He will be hoping to replicate that same feat in this serve. They go to Obay. He is blocked.
Now Iloilo has a 2-point advantage against the volley hitters. In blocking on their side in the second set, they had 5 kill blocks, they had 5 service aces, and they have been continuing to build on that number here in the third set.
So momentum clearly on the side of Iloilo. They have that chance here. Nobody there. Poor coverage on the side of Vanguard, and right now Iloilo is at set point.
And it was a high ball coming from the side of Iloilo, and dapat may coverage talaga behind the attacker, especially if you're out of system.
Villegas will choose Obay with a push. Gets it.
Volley hitters not yet done here in set number 2, just 2 points away from that 2 point.
Very doable for the Vanguard volley hitters. Remember, they want to end this conference strong. It's 22 serving 24. They need something good. They go to Guaza with an exclamation point to end our third set.
Again, the recovery always there for the Navigators in Iloilo. And that quick attack will give the Navigators a 2-1 advantage against Vanguard Volleyball.
Welcome back. You're still watching the 2023 Spikers Turf Open Conference. It was quite the set. Set number 3 for both our squads. They played well from the start. It was a push and pull affair for both of them. But in the end, it was a Iloilo team that prevailed.
Vanguard Volleyball actually posed a challenge against Iloilo in set number 3. They have managed to limit their errors actually in this entire game. And they have been working really hard to score the points, but in the tail end of every set, nagtitake over lang talaga yung depensa ng the Navigators Iloilo. Guaza chipped in there. Jade Desquitado, as usual, very consistent in closing out the sets for the Navigators. And dikit na dikit lang yung attack points in set number 3. But it's really the blocking and the serving of the Navigators that has given them that advantage against Vanguard Volleyball. 5 blocks in set number 3 and 4 service aces. Ganyan din yung na-register nila almost in set number 2. And if they can continue putting up these kill blocks and service aces, you might just see them actually close this game out and barge into the semifinals of our Open Conference.
And of course, that is exactly what they want to do. And if you're a fan of the Vanguard volley hitters, you are hoping and praying that they can do another comeback here in the 4th set, because they do want to finish this competition, this tournament strong. We have Ron Villegas on your screens preparing to serve here for the volley hitters. They have 1 win so far under their belt here in our tournament. There's going to be a few conversations with our referee in the bench of Vanguard, possibly about the lineup or the starters for set number 4. And we're going to wait for them to sort everything out before we officially start our 4th set. Billy Capistrano, Neil Flores, Mika Abesamis, and there you have it. Almanon will be a starter here in our 4th set. Just a little bit of a delay. And some more clarifications. And what do you think is happening here, Neil?
Nagkakalituhan na sa starting unit itong Vanguard Volleyball.
Alright, yan ang tama. Yan ang tama. And now we can finally begin. And Ron Villegas has been standing at the service line for quite some time now. I'm sure he's pretty happy to get things going. Cordes wasn't prepared for that serve. Apolinario will send it over to Desquitado. Sorry, that was Nursey Dick, but he is blocked, but they will get that first point.
See the in-game adjustment. Nakita ni Apolinario that Nursey was in the right wing ad-lib for that back quick play. And kailangan nagkahamuyan talaga yung setter kung saan mapupunta yung receive. Susunod yung middle blocker.
And great placement there by JD Diwa. Nothing too fancy. Gets the first point for the volley hitters here in our 4th set.
That is the 7th point of Diwa in this game. And only Rubens abroad is in double digits right now for the volley hitters. 13 points for Vince. For Iloilo, Jade Desquitado 1 point away from the 20-point mark. And he had a lot of support from Nursey Dick with 15 points.
Much better showing as well for Vince abroad in their previous game. No one scored in double digits for their team. And this was Desquitado gets that point for Iloilo.
You can see the respect of the Vanguard Volleyball para kay Jade Desquitado setting up a 3-man block.
He's just that good. Babalik sa bola ang Vanguard. Miscommunication on the part of the volley hitters.
And this is where chemistry really kicks in.
Such an important factor in every game. And practicing, of course, as a team. Very important. You gotta put in the reps to see that product on the court. Kamag-anakan will try. Good dig. Engay for the drop. Chance here for Iloilo as Apolinario will go to Guaza.
That is just too low for Guaza. He's a high leaper, pero ang bilis nung balikan ng bola. So Apolinario wanted a fast play.
We're now tied at 3-all as Jovs Kamag-anakan did not start this game, came a little bit late. He will serve. Apolinario will give this one to Engay as Villegas finds Vince Abrot. That will be a point for Vanguard. There's going to be a net touch violation called on Iloilo.
In the past few sets, nakita naman natin that Vanguard can actually take the lead against the Navigators Iloilo. Yun nga lang, it's about maintaining that lead in the tail end of every single set. At doon sila nabibitin. And these unforced errors, na-minimize nila, but again, yung timing, importanteng hindi crucial makommit yung service error.
They gotta sustain the composure all throughout that set and not just in the first parts. We're tied at 4-all. Disquitado on deck to serve for the white shirts. That sails straight to the net for Jade.
There were sets na mas marami pa nga yung unforced errors on the side of the Navigators Iloilo. So that's a side for the volley hitters to actually take advantage of that.
It is 5 serving 4. As Apolinario will give this one to Cortez. No go. Villegas picks it up. They send it over. They go to Cortez again. That is outside. A miss hit for Jerome Cortez. It's a 2-point advantage now for the volley hitters. They go to Guaza with a quick.
That's better. Adjustment on the side of Apolinario. Nakikinig din dun sa mga attackers kung ano yung preferred nilang height.
That's why constant communication with your setters is so important. And really just being open on the type of sets that you prefer. As Guaza will serve. Villegas to Abrot. Nursidic.
Oh.
Nursidic to Engay. You don't see that too often.
Just finding that corner pocket, getting past the defense of the libero of the volley hitters.
We're tied at 6-all here in our 4th set. And that was Guaza overcooking that serve. Lots of service errors that we're seeing from both our squads, especially here in the 4th set, early on here in the 4th, as Almanon will serve. They're just exchanging errors at this point.
That has been the trend.
We've seen that.
Palitan lang till the midpoint of the set, where one team establishes their lead.
It starts to pick up the pace right in the middle. That's a point for Vince Abrot. As we go to our first technical timeout, we have Iloilo at 7, Vanguard at 8.
Back at the Paco Arena for your 2023 Spikers Turf Open Conference. Now, Jay Disquitado will need more help from his teammates to seal this deal. They got to minimize their service errors and maximize their blockers. On the other hand, Vince Abrot talked about how he prepared for this match. He focused on conditioning, lalo na daw sa legs. He has been feeling some pain from his past ACL, so he did some squats and hip thrusts to strengthen his moves. This game is still unpredictable for now, but certainly whichever team would win, these two players would take credit. Billy Neal.
Thanks so much for that, Mika, for some updates. And we all know that Vince Abrot, as Mika mentioned, did suffer an ACL. And now he's back healthy as ever, and hopefully he stays healthy. A true testament to resilience.
3-point lead for Vanguard. Still very hungry to get their second win here in the Open Conference. They have a chance to send us to a 5th and deciding set.
Sabi nga ni Vince, diba, they wanna go full circle. They won that first game against NU, the very first game that they had, their only win in the tournament. And why not win the last one too? We'll see. But Iloilo, I'm sure they have other plans. Ayaw na nila pahirapan yung sarili nila. As Apolinario will give this one to De Pedro, challenging the blockers of Vanguard. Villegas gives it to Kamag-Anakan for the push. Desquitado from the back row.
That is definitely inside. It was a bullet coming from Jade Desquitado. Finally in that 20-point margin.
And that's what's expected from him. In the previous game, he only scored 10 points.
2 players in double digits for the Navigators. There will be a net violation called on Joven Kamag-Anakan.
They're looking at the bench. No challenge will be called. The coach waves them off. 1-point lead for the volley hitters. De Pedro serving. Kamag-Anakan. Dug up by De Pedro. They send this one. Oh, that's going to be a botched play for Iloilo.
Miscue on the side of Apolinario and Norsidic, and they've been playing so well in this game. Again, 15 points already for Norsidic.
It's a 2-point lead now, Neil, for the volley hitters. Let's see if they will be able to sustain and maintain this the entire set. But right now, Iloilo try to play catch-up.
That's better after making that mistake early on. Bumalik ito si Apolinario, si Norsidic, to get that point back. Now Guaza is in the front row. Another threat for the volley hitters alongside Jade Desquitado.
Iloilo needs to capitalize on this. But that will be JD Diwa with an attack of his own. Let's take a look at this last play. Apolinario will give it to Jade Desquitado.
Jade Desquitado always skying high for his attacks.
Here's that sequence one more time. The blockers also Vanguard weren't able to close it out. That will be another point here for Iloilo as a tie. This game, we're at 12 all. So a chance here for Iloilo to overtake.
Reception has been erratic on the side of the volley hitters. Now that lead is gone. A while ago, they had a 3-point lead. But again, the Navigators showing up on defense as they regain that lead.
That was a massive block on Fernandez, care of Naz Guasa. Right on cue, we're at the middle of that set. Here comes Iloilo. But again, the volley hitters just fighting it out here in our game. 13 all. Back and forth affair for both our teams. It's been very, very close. Of course, except for that second set explosion by Iloilo. Kamag-Anakan. Apolinario back set to Jade Desquitado. Just too much for the volley hitters.
They can't afford to relax talking about the Navigators Iloilo. So if you have a chance to set up Jade Desquitado, then do so that you can close this one out and finally get that last seat in the semis. And that would be a big statement for the Navigators because again, as a new team, hindi ganun kataas yung expectations. But the fact that you were able to compete in the semis against
the
Giants. Best club teams. I mean, the Giants in Signal, Cotabato, and Imus. Says a lot about that program.
Already, for the fans of Iloilo, you have to be proud of this team. And why not take it a step further by making it to the semis and going from there? And for the volley hitters, they tried their best. Chemistry was always an issue for them. But we're pretty sure that they're going to bounce back, if ever, in the next conference. Villegas to Almanon. And that is outside. They call it outside. Now we go to our second technical timeout of set number 4. Iloilo in the lead, 16-14. Now, before anything else, let's first take a quick look, Neil, at our team standings to better understand the situation of our squads at this point in our conference.
Right now, the Navigators Iloilo at 6-2. Nasa likod lang nila yung VNS. Now, if the Navigators Iloilo wins this game, they will increase their win-loss score to 7-2. If VNS wins on Sunday against the Navy Sea Lions, magkakaroon sila ng 7-3 win-loss score. But the Navigators still has one more game. So if they end up winning against Cotabato, no more questions asked. But if they lose in terms of points, sa pagkakaalam ko, lamang sila compared sa VNS because VNS had that 5-setter against Army and it was a crucial 5-setter. They won that game, pero in terms of points, aangat itong the Navigators Iloilo.
So it's just important for Iloilo to win this game. At least one game. I mean, Cotabato is one of the top teams right now. A lot of heavyweights in that squad.
And they beefed up their lineup.
Exactly, even more.
Even more. Again, this is the national team that will be competing in the Southeast Asian Games.
That's why it's going to be very exciting to see and to watch the semifinals, which start next week. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's focus on our match at hand first. We have Vanguard versus Iloilo. Right now, Iloilo holding on to a slim 1-point lead against Vanguard. Almanon to serve. Apolinario will give it to Engay. Villegas will find Vince Abrot. Good dig. Ball is still live. This is going to be a chance here for Vanguard as Kamag-Anakan will set it over to Abrot, who is blocked. Kamag-Anakan again to Vince. Still denied. Kamag-Anakan again to Vince. And this time, third time's the charm. Kailangan pang ulit-ulit para matama.
He was already facing that angle. And he really want to hit it off the hands of the blockers of the Navigators at Iloilo. Pwede kang ibaba ng kamay ng blockers ng Iloilo last second to let that ball sail outside.
Kamag-Anakan also taking charge in that series of plays. But this time, this point will go to Iloilo.
Nursidik. A lot of points coming from this guy in today's game.
Also one of the standouts for Iloilo. They go to Fernandez. Apolinario to turn Nursidik right on cue.
No go, says the first referee. That is outside from Nursidik.
Right now, Neil, we're at another deadlock in our fourth set. We are at 18 all. We have Vince Abrot, one of the better servers for the volley hitters. And as I say that, his serve goes straight to the net. And usually he's a pretty good server, fourth best server in the league.
That service error will actually send Jay Desquitado to the front line for the Navigators.
So Vanguard, they really need to adjust accordingly. But again, they tie this game. So hindi lamang yung score natin, Neil. It's always been around 2 points, 1 point, at most possibly 3. It's been a very, very close set so far. Villegas serving. Apolinario will find Desquitado. Picked up by Teodones. They're gonna send this one over. A little too short.
Oh, Apolinario getting that gift from Vanguard Volleyball with that drop ball.
Take a look at that. We have two volley hitters trying to get that ball. Much to the delight of Apolinario, they failed to do so. Villegas.
Oh!
Single block from Guaza.
Zone 1 was way open, but Fernando